Welcome in to IllinoisPrep.com. Skylar King alongside Eric Seals. As always, you can follow us on Twitter at SkylarIPrep, at EricIPrep. 5 big games to recap here, not the least of which was up in Wilmette, Mount Carmel, at Loyola, and a rematch of last year. And unlike last year, Malcolm Weaver, senior quarterback, was able to lead the Ramblers to a victory.
Putting the team on his back, went 9 for 18, 139 yards, passing 17 carries for 43 yards. You look
And
at
a touchdown.
And a touchdown. You look at Malcolm Weaver, and it's like, oh, that's not that big of a game. But with Mount Carmel, that's huge. That came towards the end of the game. These two teams. You said it last week. This was a bigger game for Loyola than Mount Carmel because of the history of the two teams. And Loyola is, saying that they're a team to look at, in the Chicago Catholic League.
And Loyola front runner now for home, basically this quote unquote home field throughout the playoffs sort of thing, because I don't know if they actually seed it that way, but even over like a Maine South, because they're going to out playoff point all the 9-0s because of the league they play in,
without a doubt.
So big win for Loyola, and part of that picture in 8A.
But
Loyola, Mount Carmel.
also realize that Maine South came there last year.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I don't think they care where they play.
No, I'm sure not. Yeah. Prairie Ridge dominates Crystal Lake South. They are, definitely one of the top teams in the state that probably not many are talking about.
Yeah, whenever a team has 5 turnovers, you can pretty much call the game over. Not only that, but Prairie Ridge scored on 4 out of those 5 turnovers. So when you have a game like that, things aren't just going for you. And 41-16, Prairie Ridge just ripped this game apart.
I think we saw that when we saw that Crystal Lake South, even though they got the big win over Lake Zurich, we were sort of said,
they're going to have a tough time against some teams in the future.
Yeah, because the offenses in that game were pretty stagnant.
But they got a field goal kicker.
They do. They do. He's got a big leg.
Oh, man, Wally.
Upset of the week.
Huge upset.
Nazareth over JCA at Joliet Memorial.
Yep.
And I believe it was 17-0 at halftime.
Yep.
And, the Hilltoppers just couldn't recover.
It doesn't get much bigger than that, for Nazareth. Joshua Moore beating the Hilltoppers at their own game, 37 carries, 176 yards.
Backup running back.
Wow. That's what that gets. Nazareth, the only loss this year is to Carmel, which is one of our top 10 teams.
Respectable loss.
You were talking about them at the beginning of the year. Their coach happened to coach at Driscoll.
Yeah.
So? Yeah.
They won
Got
a couple
titles. So this is a well-coached team, a team that believes in what they're learning from their coach, and they caught Joliet, on a bad night.
Yeah, and definitely, talk about a confidence builder going forward.
Oh, without a doubt.
Speaking of confidence, and again, we previewed this one. This is a big statement game for 2 potential playoff teams, and Brother Rice, double OT, beats Providence.
Yeah, Brother Rice almost fell into what they did last week with St. Rita. St. Rita came back, beat Brother Rice. Same thing with Providence. Providence almost came back and took the game away from them. I think they learned from what happened last week and said, okay, we need to do whatever it takes to win the game, but you can't be a top team and let teams come back like that. So it's a good thing that they figured it out. They beat Providence in the double overtime, but they got a little bit of work to do.
Yep, 4-2, 3-3 for Providence.
Yep.
They definitely have some work to do.
Without a doubt.
The last one, we were at this one. Bolingbrook jumps out to a 14-0 first quarter lead. Aaron Bailey busting big time runs.
Yeah.
And then nothing.
Yeah, and I'm gonna call myself out on this one. We're always on the guest sideline, and I could hear the guys on the side and like, there's no way Lincoln Wade is gonna lose this game. And it was 14-0 at that point. I'm like, Scott, these guys are crazy. And I was wrong. We talked about it at halftime. It was all about coaching. And Lincoln Wade.
You hear players say, and I said this to you, hear players say, it's not about the X's and the O's. It's about the Jimmys and the Joes. Well, this one was about the X's and the O's because if you watch in terms of, we talk about the eye test, Bolingbrook is the maybe the eye test team in the state. When you talk about the athlete they have a quarterback with Bailey, the athlete they have in the linebacking core with Morrison, and then Robbie Bain balls people.
Bain, yep.
I mean, to me, it was that last drive when Bowling was trying to make the run to come back and tie or win late. Finally, Bailey's booting out, gets a pass run option. They have to bite in. He hits a 27-yard pass. It's like, where's this been?
Where's it been the whole entire game? And that's the thing that kind of trumped us. It's like, okay, we want to score now because we want to win the game. The game's almost over,
right?
And they almost scored another touchdown. But Lincoln Way East, Lincoln Way East.
It was like Full House Blitz.
Yeah.
Like the entire
Oh yeah. I mean, every time we're like, they're bringing the whole house. So I mean, they did what they had to do. They went to home and floss for them, won a game. They went to Bolingbrook. They deserve everything that they got. So
absolutely. I mean, hats off to them. But if Bolingbrook figures out the way to best utilize Bailey, that's still a team come playoff time.
Oh, without a doubt.
that I really like. And I mean, Lincoln Way East owns this conference. This was Bolingbrook's year.
Yeah.
They needed this one. They were at home, and I can't believe they got shut out for the last 3 quarters.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. Hats off to Lincoln Way East, and I mean, Mr. Bayer, lineman, with some big runs. That was impressive.
Yeah.
But we're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, previewing 5 weeks, 7 games. It's time to start separating, make that playoff push, and become playoff eligible when we come back here at IllinoisPrep.com. Welcome back in, IllinoisPrep.com. Skylar King, Eric Seals, talking Week 7 preview. The 5 games: Wheaton South at Lombard North, Naperville Central at Wheaton North, St. Rita at Bishop Mack, LT at York, and our first game at North Central.
Had a giggle at that one.
Nequa Waubonsie.
Joya Redigan for Nequa, junior running back, 193 yards, 2 touchdowns, 17 carries last week. Nequa, I think they're going to give Waubonsie a hard time. I got Nequa in this game.
Yeah. Mattia this past week, 1 completion the whole game.
Yeah.
Trouble.
Yeah.
And that's going to set up a big matchup next week, Nequa Bartlett for the conference championship in the Upstate 8. Game 2, like you said,
Your
LT.
favorite team. I just felt it.
My squad.
I felt it.
The Dukes. And, again, we talked about it. They let us know that we need to look out for them.
Yeah.
And, again, this was the game last year.
This is the same game we picked last year.
And, I'm going with York. LT came in with a lot of hype, and they're 3-3. I mean, LT I think they had a charmed season last year, but they just don't have the same team. York, it's a pretty simple formula. They like to run the ball, and they're not going to turn it over. They're going to play their defense, and they're going to get a big win.
Yeah, I got York as well. They have the dual quarterback system going, which I'm not a big fan of, but it seems to be working for them. Right now, they got LT this week, who they beat last week. Got a big matchup against Glenbard West, who we already know how that game is going to be. We'll talk about that next time. But yeah, I got York in this game.
Look out if it's close late. Jake Elliott, 52-yard field goal against Oak Park last week for LT.
Watch out.
Yeah.
He'll put it through.
Speaking, we talked about Prairie Ridge in that top 10 show. A team that not many are talking about. How about St. Rita, 5-1?
No, I think people are getting love.
The only team they lost to was Memphis Whitehaven.
Yep.
They're 7-0.
7-0. And they could have won that game.
They should have won that game.
They should have won that game.
The only thing they gave was an 80-yard touchdown run.
Yeah.
And Rita's going to win this football game. I think they're on a mission. Mm-hmm. And, I don't know if they're as good as Loyola and Mount Carmel in that conference, but they seem to be rounding into form. They're starting to dominate some teams, and they're going to be a force in the playoffs.
Yeah, when we talked to head coach of St. Rita Kuska, Todd Kuska, down there at when they played against Whitehaven, he said, he's like, right now we're young. We got, got to learn a couple things, but we're going to be okay. After that loss, he didn't seem to disturb it. And other people were like, oh, that's bad coaching. He was just like, I know we'll be okay. So St. Rita against Bishop Mack, I think they're going to be fine.
Yeah, Bishop Mack's no joke. I mean, they're 5-1.
Yeah.
They're obviously a program, but again, what you get in those Catholic League, Bishop Mack, much smaller school than St. Rita, and so when that happens, you get the bigger athletes with St. Rita.
Oh, yeah.
And if Bishop Mac's going to keep it close, it's got to be because they play a ton of possession football.
Well, St. Rita, another team that passes the look test.
Yeah.
Really great.
Oh, definitely.
Great.
Naperville Central at Wheaton North. This became a much bigger game for that DVC title because Naperville Central upsets Glenbard North.
Yep.
Wheaton North, though, on top, only undefeated team in conference.
Yeah, I'm going with Wheaton North on this one. I know Naperville Central had that big win last week against Glenbard North, but John Peltz and running back Patrick Sharp been leading the offense for the Falcons, and I think they're hungry for it this year. I think they won it this year. DVC's a little down this year, so this is their time to get in and go ahead and get that conference title.
Well, again, it looked like everyone was sort of leaning towards Glenbard North, so now Wheaton North's got to say it's our time, and especially since their arch rival, Wheaton South, is usually the big dog in this conference, they got to be like, we're the new champs around here.
Of course.
And I agree. I think they get it done. Speaking of Wheaton South, they're coming off a dominating performance.
Yep.
And they get the Glenbard North team that just got knocked off by Naperville Central. And so late last year, after Glenbard North lost to Wheaton South, their first loss, they fell apart.
They did.
What happens for them this year?
That's the one thing I'm worried about. I mean, even think about Glenbard North last year when the first round of the playoffs,
Right.
Everybody was surprised about that. Man, I've been going back and forth on this just because, Wheaton South, wherever they've been, we've been talking about that all year. But the thing is, I don't think Vital is obviously their number one player on the team. I don't think Vital is a secret as much anymore. At the beginning of the year, everybody's like, who are they going to go to? So because of that, I think Glenbard North is going to come out with the win.
Yeah, to me, if Glenbard North doesn't come out hungry and getting after them, they might as well call off the rest of the season because this is the game. Again, we keep talking about it. This is the game everyone in this conference should be geared up for because Wheaton South's not going to be down for long.
No,
so
they're going to get back up.
You need to get them while you can. And again, Glenbard North still part of that equation of making 8A so tough. And if they are going to make any sort of run, they need to win games like this.
Yep.
So. Total agreeance. It's I don't know. How am I going to pick up more games on you this week if we
stop agreeing with me?
Is that what it is? Any final thoughts here on any of these games that you're looking forward to?
This is first week to become playoff eligible, correct?
Oh, no.
It was last week.
Well, actually, 2 weeks ago, technically you're playoff eligible at 5 wins, but you clinched 6 wins. You're in.
6 wins, you clinch it. So that's what I really meant. So yeah, big week.
Yeah. So week 7, there you have it. Eric and I both like Glenbard North and Wheaton North and St. Rita and Neuqua Valley and York, leading up to the West Suburban Silvers showdown
with the horses.
With Glenbard West next week. So next week we'll be previewing Week 8 and recapping Week 7. Until next time, for Eric, I'm Skylar, and come back with IllinoisPrep.com.